Hello, my name is Paul Conroe, and welcome to video number 5 in my ongoing series all about the Rochester City School District's draft budget for next school year. In this video, I want to go into a discussion about professional technical services, better known as outside contracts. So let's jump right in and get started. All right, so obviously, deficits make for difficult decisions. And it's been recently reported that the district is facing an additional $24 million deficit. And also recently reported is that the superintendent proposes cutting positions to arts, including the RCSD's Director of Arts position. Now, my daughter, who is currently in 7th grade, has, for the last 2 years, participated in a district-wide marching band and district-wide musicals that were put on at East High School. And through the hard work of the teachers and really through the leadership of this district-wide arts department director, the RCSD has been brought up to a minimum standard equal to the suburbs. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, before this current art director's tenure, we didn't have these opportunities, and as a parent, I'm so glad that my daughter has had them. So I guess a theme that I want to hit now and at the end is, what is the impact of some of these outside contracts on my child's education? Because I can tell you, arts enriches my children's education. I don't know why it's so often cut in tough times, the fine arts, but let's jump into this professional technical services side of the budget, and we'll come back to that question at the end. So professional technical services, or outside contracts, is essentially a $27 million budget item. So $27 million out of $950 is not a lot, but our deficit right now, the new projected deficit, is an additional $24 million. So it's great. Already this budget shows an $8 million decrease over last year. So we've cut almost a quarter in our professional technical service budget from one year to the next. And I'm wondering, could we cut more? And let's take a look at that line. And I do want to say that the professional technical service line is throughout the budget, and it's so hard to know exactly what you're getting for that dollar amount. And I want to just put out at the front here that I don't know what these services provide, but I want to at least put price tags on and enumerate where they are in the budget so that we can ask for answers with data in hand. So here's, if you think about it, that $27 million is broken down into 4 buckets. You can see I hand drew those pictures and uploaded them. I don't want to get any copyright infringement on icons that I choose. And so those 4 buckets are either direct aid to schools, central office, EPO, which is East High School, and then the Office of Benefits. And you'll see that the amounts add up to about $27 million. And if you want to know where I got those 4 numbers, you can see the section and page if you want to take a snapshot of this screen and look in the budget yourself. So I want to look at bucket number 1 first. That's divided into 4 parts. There's the page number in the section and the titles. So alternate school programs, early childhood, I really would love to know what that $11 million covers. I don't. The Chiefs of Schools has a $482,000 budget. Again, I don't know what these lines cover, but they add up to be $12,826,000. I'm not sure why, but the total within Section 4 does not add up to the reported total of $14.2 million. There's somewhere $1.4 million that I can't find. I'm sure it's an error on my part. I think it's an error on my part. The second bucket is the central office bucket. and that's a $10 million price tag. And you can see that the majority of it is in the that third line here. The deputy superintendent has a $9.5 million line. And so it's a little confusing if you look at the budget page by page, because within section 6, there's these separate lines. And then between section 6.19 and 6.80, there's all these subcategories under the deputy superintendent. And so again, I'm not going to go through these line by line because I don't know what they give us. But if you want to look at the price tags, and you can see, you can ask questions. Here are the specific pages. Here are the specific amounts. They do add up very nicely to $9,567,000, which is reported on page 6-19. What I thought interesting was that if you look section by section or page by page through section 6, there's actually a $1.9 million addition that doesn't show up in the very beginning of that section summary. Again, it's just information. It's out there for you to have at your disposal. The one thing that I would like to point out is that the safety budget, $1.5 million, I believe is for the contract with the Rochester Police Department that pays for a uniformed officer to work in the high schools. Again, I think if you were to ask me, where would I cut first? I would certainly cut uniformed RPD officers who are stationed in a building before I would cut art, with the expectation that the RPD could still do patrols that included coming through the high schools somewhat regularly or periodically. So bucket 3 and bucket 4, again, there's not much detail. There's not much to say there, other than those are the pages and those are the amounts. But back to the main point. I've just gone through, pretty quickly, a $27 million expenditure, and I broke it down into smaller categories, but I don't know what I'm getting for my dollar. And they might be very important things. But deficits, they force us to prioritize. How can we prioritize? How can we as voters or parents even know what that $27 million is returning on the investment without more detail? So, to that end, is it possible to post the superintendent's office an itemized list that at least breaks down the top 50 contracts and just gives a description as to how they're going to impact our children's education? Because I want to hit this point. I know that the fine arts, have significantly impacted my daughter and the 40 other kids that I know are in marching band, and the dozens of kids that have done the citywide musical. So that kind of wraps up this video. I hope you found it informative and helpful. I might do one more video, and I think I'm going to also begin to post these on YouTube, so they will be both on Facebook and YouTube. I hope that this is helping inform you and equip you to advocate for your children and for your city. Thank you for watching.